everybody, welcome to the TraderMerlin Show. It is your Thursday edition. Hope you all had a great trading session out there. Hello, Katut down in Indonesia, Terry, Ken, Big Eb, Siraj, Rob, and Les. No, it won't be an hour and 58 minute show making up for lost time. I'm sure we would love that. And, you know, who knows, maybe, but I have just got so many more things going on. Like my plate keeps getting more and more full, so even doing an hour starts to become a little bit challenging, but we'll do our best. Today's show is going to revolve around cryptocurrencies. Of course, you guys know I'm more than happy to get on any path that you decide to steer the show. For those who are new, which probably isn't many people. I see you got the regular crew here, but if you are new, hit that subscribe button. And if you send in questions, do it with question marks first so I know it's directed directly at me. Now, actually, a friend of mine from Northern California from many moons ago, his brother has been a good friend of mine as well, and he is probably at the shop right now. He just typed in yo in there. Chris Collins sent in a few questions regarding cryptocurrency, so I thought I'd cover some basic stuff for Chris, and I had like 5 or 6 other ones that have come in over the past, I don't know, a week or so that I figured now's the time to get to because we've seen some pretty interesting things happen in crypto. So Chris, you started this show today. It's a cryptocurrency Q&A. Thank you very much. And again, Chris, I know you're probably working on cars and getting grease all over the place, but if you have any questions along the way as we talk today, just go ahead and type them on in. So I'm going to start with Chris's. Hello, Dan, from Kansas City, home of the team that beat my 49ers. All right, so there's a few questions here, and I'll try to keep them all kind of grouped together. Chris starts off by saying, should I cash out when my Ethereum reaches its average price at $2,400 and add it to my Coinbase Pro account? Okay, so you first have to set the stage here because my initial answer would be very simple. There's no need to sell it. Simply move it to the exchange that you would like to move it to. But then you're going to tell me, oh, but Merlin, I'm assuming this, Merlin, you are, my account is with Robinhood. Oh, there's the problem. Now, if you watch the show I did, it might be 2 years ago now, where I talked about when free is not free, specifically looking at firms like Robinhood, which lure people in with this wonderful fish hook, this shiny lure that says, it's free, no commissions. I'm telling you right there, if something is free, then you are the product being sold. And there's ways that they're making money off of you. So Robinhood will not allow you to send or transfer cryptocurrencies out of their exchange. You can only buy or sell, which right away should be somewhat of a red flag, right? They also have gotten in trouble in the past. I believe in 2020, they were busted by the SEC for not getting their clients the best fills. Why? Well, because a lot of that order flow is sold. That's how they do it for free, is they're selling order flow. Now, with regards to crypto, Robinhood is its own exchange. It's its own crypto exchange. So what they're going to do is no commissions, Chris. Don't you worry, buddy. We're not going to charge you any commissions. But what they'll do is that spread gets wider and wider and wider. Because they're probably just I don't know if they're doing limit orders or market orders, but the way they're structuring the trades, you're only going to get filled at the ask price when you're buying, and you're only going to get filled at the bid price when you're selling. And that spread is most likely wider than normal. I like how they don't even really show you what that spread is on Robinhood because that's how they're making their money off of you. You're probably better off just selling it on Robinhood, sending that fund over to another exchange. Doesn't have to be Coinbase Pro. Kraken is good as well. And then rebuying it at that point. My normal comment will be, well, just send it over. But if it's Robinhood, you can't do that. It's kind of a little bit frustrating if you're a Robinhood client because you think you have such great tools because that's what you're led to believe, right? It's this, we're standing up for the little guy. No, they're really sticking it to the little guy, honestly, because the perception is that free makes it all of a sudden better. It's actually worse. I'd rather pay commissions and have better features, functionality, direct access, better quotes, smaller spreads, than get something for free and go, yeah, I got it for free, and then pay a whole bunch of unknown costs, stuff behind the scenes that get you. And that's Robinhood in a nutshell. So there you go. Hey, Jose, good to see you. It's been a while, man. We got to go catch a beer when Trey's in town. Let me know when that is. I'm ready. Let's see. Question number 2. And this is why I assume that, Chris, that you are at a Robinhood account. He says, or should I just leave it in because I heard that Robinhood is more secure? I don't believe that is true at all. I don't think Robinhood is necessarily more secure. I would actually venture to say that Coinbase is probably more secure from the amount of talk I'm hearing about their cold storage. They have a lot of the same basic encryption functionality, so they're doing two-factor authentication, and the same basic security protocols are going to be in place for both. But from what I was reading, Robinhood says they do cold storage offsite, but they haven't been very clear about what that is, whereas Coinbase has outlined, here's exactly what we're doing. So I would trust myself, personally, Coinbase more, just for that. So there you go, Chris. I got 2 questions out of the way. And again, if you guys have any questions, just let me know what they are. Just type in question marks before it so I know what it is. Chris, I have more of your questions, which I'll get to as we progress through today, but I'm going to mix it up here with some other viewer questions. Let's see. Lee. Yeah, I saw this one too. Lee says, does the descending triangle on Ethereum concern you? For those of you that may not know, I obviously love chart patterns, and I'm a big fan of looking at the various price patterns out there. I love ascending triangles. I also love descending triangles. To me, that's a little concerning. Here is the chart of Ethereum. Let me get some of these lines off here. Won't see those ones for a while. The 3,900 mark on Ethereum, I'd love to be back up there. What Lee is referencing is this line right here. So let me just do a couple things for you guys. It's very loose, right? You wouldn't draw your descending triangle like this, but I'm just doing it to make a quick example for you. Basically, you're looking at something like that. And I would probably myself move this top down so it looks a little bit more realistic, something like this. And all it's telling us here is that the pressure right now is to the downside. That's really all this is telling us, right? Now, from a measurement perspective, a lot of times people will look at a descending triangle formation like this and say, okay, once I identify that shape, I can now start to measure how far it might go if it breaks down below that 1725 mark, which I have marked as the bottom of that triangle. It's not good news, I'll tell you that. So if we were to use a measuring object from where I drew this one, it would go from there down to there. Sorry, the podcasters can't hear me. It would go from the top of the triangle, which is roughly 2890, to the bottom, which is roughly 1725. That's my measuring object. Now, in theory, a lot of the technical analysis books will say that once it breaks below and closes below this lower line, the base of that triangle, then that is where you use this to become a measuring object. And that basically means that Ethereum, according to the descending triangle, as I've drawn it here, basically says it's going down to 571 bucks. Could it happen? Absolutely. It certainly could. But I say that's probably less probable than it would be for it to go back up to 4,000. I think you have too many things dependent on the Ethereum ecosystem. You have too many coins attached to it. I haven't checked as of today, but my guess is it's probably about 10,900. Let's go check out for you. If you guys want to know how many different projects, wow, I nailed that to the T. I go to Coin Market Cap is a great resource for you. And if you look, 1 second here. See at the top left over here, it says 10,917 different cryptocurrencies right now. That's more than stocks trade on the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. So there's tons and tons and tons and tons of different ones out there. Some of which I know a lot about, some I don't know much about at all. For example, Dan Lee says, what do you think of the new crypto million MM? I don't know. I don't know about it, unfortunately, Dan. But I made a note right here, and I'll add it to my list. I mean, this is one of the things that I'm kind of excited about for the program I'm building for Online Trading Academy. Is it's going to be a couple of weekly sessions where we'll just go live into the markets and basically break down million MM and see what it is, how it works, is it worth investing in or buying or anything like that. So I don't know anything about it right now, but I will, because that's my geekdom. I love that type of stuff. So yeah, 10,917. There's obviously tons of them out there. A lot of those are stuck on the Ethereum ecosystem, meaning if something happens to Ethereum, all those projects die. So to me, there's this symbiotic relationship that makes Ethereum probably the most powerful in the market right now because so many are dependent on it. Some of those companies might actually be, legit companies. Some others might be total scams. That's nature of the beast. Bottom line is a majority are using the Ethereum blockchain. So I'm still bullish on Ethereum. It's just that price chart that we just looked at does not look good at all. I don't think you'll see 571. I will tell you this. If it does get down to 571, I'll probably buy a pretty sizable position, some more. I already have a decent position in Ethereum, but I would certainly buy some more here and add to it. So, Lee, and again, I love the question. It's not just Ethereum, though. I mean, if you look at Bitcoin, you could argue there's a descending triangle going on here. There you got Polkadot, which actually just broke through the floor and doesn't look good at all right now. Litecoin, they're all pretty much the same shape. Dogecoin is another one which we'll get to here in just a second because it's another listener questions. But yeah, Big Eb I think has the support. I think we mentioned that number as well. That 1725 mark. That's where I've got that line drawn. Now it's certainly not a strong support level if you understand how Online Trading Academy analyzes and breaks down support and resistance and supply and demand, those concepts. This one is not great. It's already been hit a bunch of times. It's been hit 1, 2, 3 times since April. So it's starting to get weaker and weaker. There's one just a hair below it, right around 1585, which would probably be a little bit more appealing. Call it 1600, but that's $300 away from current price, 325. So that's that. I hope it doesn't get there, but it very well could. The way things have been headed here with the crypto space, so not looking so good. Okay, let's see. So I had question marks. Let me go to this one from Big Eb here. Big Eb says, Merle, do you think Jay Powell's comments yesterday on crypto and stablecoins have an impact, maybe adding legitimacy? That's a tough one. I think it does. I think it strikes a little bit of fear into the space. And again, it's this double-edged sword, right, which is this. Jay Powell specifically said that he has no stance on cryptocurrencies yet, or digital currency. He's not quite sure. But what concerned me is he named specifically stablecoins. And he says, we need to make sure we get regulation on those. So if you get more regulation on it, 2 things will happen. The first one is that knee-jerk reaction that's, oh shit, the government's now intervening. I'm freaking out because they're going to try to change everything and regulate it all. And then it'll probably take a dive, which I think is what we're seeing now. The end result, though, of regulation of stablecoins is that now, because it's regulated, it may get some government protection, whether that's SIPC or FDIC, right? Because FDIC is for currencies, dollars, and SIPC is going to be for security. So whatever they classify it as, it may get coverage under those, which all of a sudden should relieve a lot of people's angst and anxiety about holding a stablecoin. So that right there could act as a catalyst for the move up. But I think right now you're in that knee-jerk reaction of, uh-oh, regulators are coming in, not good. I personally think that regulation, to some degree, would be very good for the cryptocurrency markets as a whole. If you look at what's going on right now, a lot of people are saying that cryptocurrency is dead. Guys, this is what happens in kind of a boom-bust type of cycle. I mean, look at the price chart of Ethereum here. If you look at where it's at right now, I'm happy where it's at. I mean, to say 1900 it's dying, this thing was at 500 less than a year ago. It was at 250 less than a year ago. Hell, what was it a year ago? I mean, now that I'm dropping years ago. Let's see, we're on July. Let's go all the way back to July. We were at $220 a year ago. So you're already up at 1926. Hell of a year. Awesome. Bring it. I would love it to be up at $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a coin, but that's going to take time, right? You need to let the products, the programs, the protocols, and all that stuff that's attached to Ethereum work. And prove that ecosystem is a viable way to conduct business. Right now, you're seeing it start with NFTs and different projects like that, but it's still a long way to go. I think, like I say, 10 years down the road, we'll all go, yeah, duh, we saw that 10 years ago. There'll be a lot of people that are just starting to accept this in 10 years as a legitimate business opportunity, investment opportunity, and, now paying cryptocurrencies with our, yeah, that's fun. Anyway. Get me on the soapbox there. Jose, have you been paying attention to the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit? How do you think it's going to turn out? A lot of analysts are saying XRP is going to blow up once a lawsuit is squashed or settled. I haven't been following it, but here's the basics of it. If you look at Ripple, they're going to end up working out some deal with the SEC. Clearly. If who has more money, Ripple or the SEC? Most people would say the SEC. I'm going to go with Ripple. Ripple's got $55 billion sitting in cash, in Ripple tokens. Of course, that's dropped significantly. It's dropped a lot. They had a lot more recently. However, if I'm the guys that are running that show, I'll go, we'll pull off a couple of billion a couple of $1 billion worth just to fight this and make it go away. They'll settle. It'll all come to an agreement, and then we'll see what happens with it. Now, the talk track, which I've been seeing from a lot of different people, is, oh, well, Ripple's going to go to like the same price as Ethereum and blow up, right, Jose? And that's what a lot of people think about when they look at, Ripple, which is sitting down at 60 cents right now. They're like, oh man, if this thing just gets a little traction and the Fed, they pass this SEC thing, Ripple's going to be at $50 a coin, maybe $100 a coin. And you got to go, hold on a second, that's not going to happen. It will not happen. There's no way you'd see $1,000 Ripple, never going to happen in any of our lifetimes. Here's why. And I've brought this up many times. Here is XRP. Right, now it might be hard for some of you to read. I'll zoom in here a little bit, and you can see total supply or in circulation is 46 billion. Right, so I'm not going to do the math in my head right now, but if it was, let's just assume it was $1, which it's not. It's at 60 cents. But if it was $1, you would be looking at $46 billion market cap. That's not the case. It's 28 billion right now. But what I want you to notice is right here, maximum supply is 100 billion. Right, 100 billion. So even if that thing got to $1, it'd have a $100 billion market cap. That's doable. Now, a $10 market cap, or $10 per coin. Now all of a sudden you're looking at $1 trillion market cap. Okay, that could potentially happen, but no way it's going to get much bigger than that. I mean, the only way I think any one of these could be that, 5, 10, 15, $20 trillion market cap currency is if it actually replaced another currency, a fiat currency. Like if it replaced the dollar. And I'll assure you this, that Powell and the U.S. government will make sure that never happens, because by the U.S. government and the Fed and central banks controlling their currencies, they have the ability to manipulate their economies. If they lose that control, all hell breaks loose. So I don't think it'll skyrocket. Could it go from 60 cents to a few bucks? Yeah, that's actually why I'm holding it. I think it'll get back up to the $3, $4 mark, somewhere in that ballpark. But I don't see it getting too much higher unless they work out some deal with the Fed and all of a sudden they become the intra-bank lender, which is what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to replace the SWIFT protocol, which allows them to send bank remittances and things like that. If they could replace that, then that would be pretty good. But I don't think that's going to happen. They had Ben Bernanke actually come to their Swell event in Canada. Swell was the name of their event where they bring in all these expert speakers and try to promote Ripple. And, it's kind of like bringing in, I'll take a step back as I make this analogy. Years ago, when Online Trading Academy was starting, there was, I'll just say, a group of unscrupulous individuals, and they came in with all nice intentions about partnering up and doing business deals with us, blah, 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 blah. We showed them our content. I was told, show them everything, show them the works. Okay, great. It's what you told me to do, so I went through, showed them the works. These guys went and said everything that everybody wanted to hear just to get all of our content, and once they got our content, they basically cut ties with us 100% and basically stole everything. Now fast forward to where we're at today. If I'm Ripple and I'm trying to get the Fed to use my cryptocurrency as the bank remittance and get rid of SWIFT protocol, and all the reasons are there to do it, right? If you look at what SWIFT is, it's slow, it's cumbersome, it's this legacy system, it's completely outdated, it's inefficient, it has no purpose, right? It's like trying to use an abacus when I have a high-speed calculator here that can do a million times more computations. So they bring in Bernanke to speak. Bernanke basically looked at everything and said, no, I'm sure I had a couple other representatives with him. They went back to the Fed and were like, okay, this looks cool. Let's make our own. Let's make our own, Fed coin, which is exactly what's happening, right? So I don't see them taking off and being the all end all. But that's just my opinion based off what I've seen them do. Maybe they'll branch out and start going down different paths. But you say, Jose says 10 to 30. I heard 10 to 30 right after the lawsuit is settled. No, I don't think you'll see 10. 10 maybe. 30? I mean, I sure as hell hope so because I've got quite a bit of Ripple. But I'm being a realist. I don't think so, man. I think if you get $5, you should probably scale out of some of it and be happy with what you got. But it's not one of these ones that's going to moon. Because remember, the big factor here, and think of it like this, Jose, and others. I'm not directing this just at Jose, but think of it this way. There's 46 billion in circulation, but I'm holding another 54 billion. So if this thing starts to rocket up and I'm an insider, what am I going to do? Am I buying more? Hell no. I'm going to start liquidating the $56 billion, $54 billion that I have. When you start flooding the market with that kind of supply, even if you've got great demand, prices may still go up. But at a certain point, that sheer volume of them unloading some of this XRP could come and crash it down. So to me, that's a tough one. Let's see. What else? Let me go back to these ones here real quick. All right, so back to our scripted questions from Chris again. There you go, Chris. You can climb out of the engine block, buddy. Here we go. Why does Crypto.com exchange sell Bitcoin for $230 to $300 higher than Coinbase Pro? Is that the way they get their fees? Some markup? Is that normal? Yes. Okay, so we've done this on the show many times where we'll look at one exchange and then bring up another. They're all usually slightly different. If you use like Kraken and you go to Kraken Pro, I think that's what they call it, or you go to something that gives you the order book where you can see all the buyers and sellers, that's going to be your best pricing that you can get. When you look at something like a Robinhood or a Coinbase or some other exchanges, which they don't tell you the bid or the ask. They don't tell you any of that stuff. So what happens is they're controlling the spread. They're dictating how wide that spread becomes. Now, that's a way that they're making money. And what's a challenge here with something like Coinbase is Coinbase will say, I guess I'll show you by example here. So let me bring up a visual. I don't know if I have it logged in right now. Let's go to Coinbase. Hopefully I'm logged in. Shoot. This is going to be a bummer here. If I do this, it's going to ask me to do all kinds of emails and password confirmations. And well, I won't do it right now because it's going to take up too much time. But when you go and buy on Coinbase, they give you one number. Oh, you want to buy it? Here's your price. And I'm going to use this as an example. Let's say they'll go, okay, you can buy Bitcoin right now for $35,000. Great. But if I go to Coinbase Pro, it'll be trading at $30,000. And wait a minute, that's $500 more. Yeah, because they're adding $500 on the upside and $500 on the downside and basically like $1,000 spread. So when you look and you're like, oh, I'm only paying $2.99 in commissions. Yeah, but you're probably paying a lot more on the spread, which is the same thing that Robinhood is doing. So I don't do any trading whatsoever on Coinbase. I'll go to someplace where I have an order book. And it's not just that you have the order book, everyone. It's that you have the order book and it's liquid for the instruments you want to trade. For example, Polkadot is pretty liquid on Kraken's exchange. Not so much yet on Coinbase's. Coinbase has an incredibly liquid Bitcoin environment, right? They're one of the most liquid Bitcoin exchanges there. So when you see the bid and ask, the buyers and sellers all lining up, you get much better pricing that way. So it's not just, am I getting the exchange with the order book? It's, are the cryptos that I'm trading liquid on that exchange that's giving me the order book? No problem, Brendan. Good to see you, man. Shinobi says, I flip coins and get different rates on Coinbase to other exchanges, but only because I know it's free. I'm not sure if I understand that one. But you can do arbitrage. Now, there's algorithms out there now that they kind of take that arbitrage out. But boy, I tell you what, me and a buddy of mine back in 2017, it was like $1,000 difference to send it from one exchange to the next. So you'd buy it on one exchange for, $5,000, you'd flip over and sell it on another one, it's $6,000. Awesome. Problem was, Bitcoin takes so long to transfer, so we actually started moving to Ethereum so that we could flip those ones faster because the settlement time for Ethereum is much quicker. So that's why Crypto.com is a wider spread. Remember, Crypto.com's not giving you a buy button. It's not giving you not a buy button. It's not giving you an order book. Let me see if I can get into pro.coinbase. Come on, please be logged in. I don't want to log in again. Oh, this could be good. So this is going to work. Perfect. So I'm going to bring up, I'll give you an example. Here is the order book right now for Coinbase, and this is Bitcoin. So you can see it's $31,747.15 is the best price you could buy it at right now. So I'm just going to go here and bring up my app, and you have to trust me on the numbers. I'm obviously have no incentive to fake these numbers, but I'll go to my Bread wallet, right, which is a common one to buy cryptocurrencies with. So let me just see exactly what I could buy it. I'll click on it. I'm going to say buy, and I'm going to go click on, I'll buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, and it's telling me, it doesn't even give me the price. That's hilarious. They don't even give you the price on some of these ones. But a lot of them will tell you a price that's nowhere near the number that you're seeing on that screen. For example, BlockFi is notoriously bad at that as well. BlockFi has big spreads. Let me see if I can log in BlockFi here. Right now it's saying that Bitcoin is $31,757. So that's only $17 higher than the current market. So not too bad. But anyway, that's how they make their money, is by jacking up the spreads. And this is why when I do most of my transactions, guys, I'm using this level 2. This order book you see on the left-hand side of the screen, that's level 2. It's really market depth and showing you all the participants out there. And there's some that have better graphical representations of it. So let me see if I can, let's go to Kraken. I think this one might have to be logged into. 1 second, real quick. I'm just going to hide my screen so you don't see all my login stuff. Bear with me. And I'll log into Kraken so you can see the difference in platforms here, because to me it's pretty significant. Sign in. Sorry, I should have all this ready before, but we were busy. All right, so sign into Kraken, and my 2-factor authentication code. Okay, so bear with me as it logs in here, and now you guys can see. Oh, they just listed Solano, a real popular one. All right, so here's their different balances, and this is where it's really interesting if you look at different exchanges. So here's the portfolio I have at Kraken. If you go up here and go to trade, it is one of the most unfriendly, not good interfaces at all. So let's go buy. I'm going to say Bitcoin and divided by, I mean, how is this easy? I don't know. It's really cumbersome anyway to do this. So I click on the Pro platform, which I'm much more used to. Alan G says, does it make sense to be trading crypto when transaction fees are 3% up front? It depends on which which exchange you're trading on, Alan. You're right. 3%, I would probably say no. Here is at Kraken, where it's nowhere near that fee. It's like 0.4% fee, so it's much, much, much lower. But once this logs in here, you'll see same basic interface, right? I got much more interactive charts. I got the little mountain here, which tells me where the buyers and sellers are lined up. I can see the order books here, all the transactions, and a better interface. But this, again, is like going, yeah, there you go, Chris. Coinbase Pro app is pretty good. I'm definitely okay with Coinbase Pro. I do a lot there. It's a little bit more expensive than Kraken, but, I trade on both those about evenly as Kraken and Coinbase Pro. Let's see. Sorry, not very clear. I wasn't sure if... it converting between coins usually is not free. Depends on what exchange you're using. Normally there's a fee to roll those over, especially if you're using something like MetaMask, and you go to these swaps like Uniswap and you start swapping there. There's a lot of fees associated with that, but that's generally going to be like Ethereum-based tokens or Binance tokens. Those are usually the two that you'd be swapping out there. I do like Binance. You know what, Shinobi? You're in the UK, right? So Binance is still open for you guys. For me, it's not. I have Binance.us, which is... I kind of boycotted it because if you look at Binance versus Binance.us, Binance has the most of everything. They have some of the best staking rates, the best farm rates. I mean, they have so much better everything, selection, all that. And then you go to Binance.us and you get this anemic, boiled down site where the staking rates are like 1/4 of what they are from Binance.com. It whittles things down too much for me, so I kind of just said, well, screw you, Binance, I'm not using you. But I did like it until it became an issue for US. You can use VPNs, which I've used with mixed success to access the .com site, but I don't want to do it because I'm afraid of losing my assets there because they're like, oh, well, you're an American. We're just going to keep your assets. All right, so that was Chris's Bitcoin $300 spread. Again, it's normal for that to happen. When you don't see the level 2 or the order book, it's very easy for them to add on. And as Alan says, it's 1.5%. Depends on which exchange you're using. Some are more than that. Like, for example, I'm doing a piece right now on Bitcoin ATMs. You're looking at 8%. 8% in and 8% out. So you really better be sure that thing's moving in the direction you think it is, because that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I know you guys are having some issues with Binance. I know that Japan and the UK are all kind of having issues with Binance because they're not doing the proper regulatory stuff. But they'll fix it. Binance has got too much to lose. You know, it won't cost them that much money to be legit. So, all right, what else do I got? Questions. Yeah, I know, Alan. What the? But that's for using a Bitcoin ATM. You know, it's just the nature of the beast. You can remain much more anonymous on a Bitcoin ATM. Hey, Alan, I'll tell you what. If you want to sell me a kidney, I'll give you 8% of what I can sell it for. But you gotta cut it out, put it in an ice box. I'll give you 8% of whatever I sell it for. That's a deal. I could get 50 grand for your kidney right now. If you're gonna sell me a kidney that I can make 50 grand on and you get $400 out of it, hey, hell of a deal. All right, I had to bring this one up just because it's comical, because of all the clowns that still think Dogecoin is amazing. It says Dogecoin to the moon. Thank Isaac. I had to include that one in there just for a laugh. But look, I do think that Elon Musk is going to start to become more and more active in the development of cryptocurrencies. I know it sounds crazy. He's got enough on his plate, but I think he has a whole slew of developers that will follow whatever he says. So if he keeps pushing Dogecoin and says, hey, Dogecoin this, Dogecoin that, let's switch this, and they'll make it up and they'll make it work. So my disdain for Dogecoin, my hatred of it, knowing that it's a total shitcoin and was designed to be a scam, I was like, it's changed now because of Elon Musk. So let's look at the price chart here, because I don't know if I'm going to say to the moon, but here is your chart of Dogecoin. Right? For the longest time, man, I'm so bummed because I owned this thing way back here. When I first got into this actively in 2016, I bought a bunch of Dogecoin. It was one of the only cryptocurrencies available on the Exodus wallet. God, I wish I still held those things. I mean, I bought a few thousand of them. Son of a biscuit. Anyway, look where it's at now. I mean, this is one of the ugliest charts you're going to see in a long time. However, if you are looking at pure supply and demand, you're kind of coming into an area of demand right now, which are the lows going back into June, so just a month ago. But the trend concerns me. So, you know, Isaac says Dogecoin to the moon. I don't know if I really, if I buy that. I don't think you'll see it skyrocket. But if we can get a development team around this, and Musk continues to push to be the Doge father, you know, there might actually be a future for this one. I think if you look at Shiba Inu, if you look at these baby Doge, all these, I mean, these are legitimate shit. I keep swearing on the show. This is what they're called. They're called shitcoins. I mean, those are like steaming pile of shitcoins. They're horrible, and they're absolute scams, trash, that are just designed to make somebody money who's holding it. And as soon as there's enough people in it, it comes crashing down, and all these bag holders are going to lose a ton of money. So stay out of them. They're designed to be quick pump and dump plays. Dogecoin might have potential. I think, Isaac, if you're looking at it, now is a decent spot to potentially be a buyer. After that, though, I mean, you're looking at going all the way back down to 7 cents. It could very easily happen. So I'm not on the Dogecoin to the moon, but I do think there is potential if Elon Musk rallies the developers and starts, you know, getting it instilled in other businesses. So if all of a sudden Tesla says, hey, we're going to use Dogecoin, and then he goes out there and he's saying, SpaceX is going to use Dogecoin. All my other companies are going to use it. He'll get his PayPal friends to accept Dogecoin and all this. Then all of a sudden you might have a future for it. But to the moon, not so much. Again, it's another one that's got just 100 plus million Dogecoin. I think it's 140 billion Dogecoin, something like that. 120. So too many. All right, last one. I think it's the last one. Heather says, can you comment on CBDCs? Which are central bank digital currencies. That's what that stands for. So we've talked about this at length in the past. This is going to happen, right? CBDCs are legit right now. And I think the number I read was 85% of central banks right now are working on a digital currency. It is the future. I think it's just something that we will, in a few years, it'll just transition from a fiat, physical, holding money dollar system to, okay, now we have just digital, and we have an electronic device, our wallet, it's all protected and controlled by the Fed. But remember, this is not like your normal cryptocurrency. When you look at what cryptocurrency is, I look at Bitcoin. It's a blockchain. It's an immutable database record of what everybody has. It's decentralized in nature, so nobody can shut it down. If you look at what a CBDC would be, or a Fed coin, it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily even need a blockchain. It could just be an administrated database. It doesn't have to be blockchain or any other real sophisticated technology. It's also not going to be decentralized in any way, shape, or form. It's going to be controlled by the Fed, and that is it. They'll be able to print as many as they want, or manufacture, or mint, or mine, whatever you want to call the terminology for it. So it really shouldn't be anything exciting other than the ease of use, right? We'll probably have a digital card that ends up being our access to that Fed coin or whatever digital currency it is. So I think it's coming. I'm pretty sure we'll see it in the next few years. I'm not that excited about it, to be honest. I like the ease of use, but if you're worried about Apple and Google, Microsoft, Facebook, all collecting your data and using it, imagine what the Fed's doing. They're seeing every single penny that you spend at any moment in time. And if your money is kept, let's say your tax returns is now going to be paid to you through your, I'm going to call it FedCoin, your FedCoin wallet. So you've got your phone, you got a FedCoin wallet on there. Your paychecks could be deposited in there as well. So all of a sudden, what's the need for banks when I can just have the FedCoin app and they're depositing all my tax returns and everything in there? And let's say, for example, I get into an accident and I dispute that accident. I'm not at fault. The government, hypothetically, could come in and go, you know what? That guy's guilty. Boom. They freeze all my money. Hit of a button, I can no longer access it. That kind of scares me a little bit. It gives it too much government control, which again is why I like the decentralized blockchain technologies like Bitcoin and Litecoin, Dash, Monero, these decentralized ones that are impossible to shut down, impossible to take my money away. I'm happier and more excited about that. But the CBDC stuff, it will come. I just don't know how it's going to integrate with the digital assets that I've come to know and love. All right, what else we got? Why would Elon back Doge for real? Here's why Elon would do it. It's another opportunity for him to put a legacy stamp on something. I think that, and then maybe this is me, you might not feel this way, it's fine. I think that he's got a heck of an ego and it's a good thing. I don't mean that in a bad way, but he has an accomplishment ego where it's like, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, and I keep on doing things that people tell me I can't do. Well, people also say that cryptocurrency cannot replace the US dollar. Well, right now with the infrastructure that Dogecoin has, I don't believe that it could replace the US dollar either. It's too slow, it's proof of work, so it's going to be, resource intensive. But if you switch it over to a proof of stake or delegated proof of stake or a Byzantine fault tolerance or something that's a slightly different consensus algorithm, you get the developers to speed up the block time. So now let's say the block time goes from, 60 seconds down to maybe 1 second. Now all of a sudden I have a Visa killer. And if I have a Visa killer, now I've got a legit business there. And now maybe I can get that to go even further and potentially replace the US dollar as a transactional medium. Of course, it will never happen in its entirety, but it's a threat. And I think that Elon would love to be a part of that, especially if he can create an organization that is just of developers who see his vision and worship him. I mean, come on, Elon Musk is somewhat of a cult, is he not? It's kind of like Steve Jobs. We talked about Apple cult the other day. Well, there's Microsoft cults too, but I'd say there's a Tesla cult, and people will probably work for free for Elon to see this happen. So that's why I think he'd get involved, to see if he can make a difference in something that's groundbreaking and new. I mean, I look at the importance for society of decentralized currencies and decentralized marketplaces is almost as important as having electric vehicles, right? It's finding a need in society where there's a problem. And I would say fossil fuel vehicles were a problem, from the emissions to just the wars that fossil fuels cause. Now we go electric. Well, that solved the need, and he's heralded as being this brilliant genius of it. What if we get to the point where all of a sudden our financial systems are in that same dire straits, where there's wars over our financial systems, they're inefficient, that's just old and antiquated, that benefits one group or centralized entities? If we strip out that part and say, why don't we give that financial system to the entire world and everybody benefits? I would call that a need. And I think that's why Elon would get involved. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer there. Al-Salam, when do you start cryptocurrency class at OTA? We're shooting for the first week of August. What is it now? So I got 2 weeks to get it all done. It's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's one of these things that once you start peeling the layers back of the onion on cryptocurrency, it's not just, I'm going to buy Bitcoin because it's going up. It's how it works, how it functions, what's the benefits, pros, cons, how can it be improved, and then saying, all right, I've got 10,917 different projects to do that same evaluation on, and then I need to transact on all of them. It's a big nut to crack, but we'll get it all done hopefully here in another couple of weeks. Let's see. Mark Cuban is talking about using it. Yes, I think he actually is using it. I think you could, if I'm not mistaken, I think you can buy Dallas Mavericks tickets with Dogecoin. And I believe the Oakland A's also, they were doing Bitcoin, and now I heard they did Dogecoin as well. So you're getting these small pockets of usage. But for cryptocurrency to really excel and become dominant, it has to have mass adoption. Not, hey, this stadium allows it or this individual allows it. You know, having something like Tesla allow it, that's a bigger stage than the Dallas Mavericks or the Oakland A's, right? Because that's just a one-spot stadium. If you have something like Amazon, if Amazon were to come online and say, hey, we'll accept Bitcoin now, whoa, that's a game changer. Total game changer. Do you think we peaked this Bitcoin cycle and in for another year, another 2 of consolidation? I don't. I think we'll be in consolidation probably for a little while. How long? I don't know. I still stand behind my forecast at $100,000 by the end of next year. That was my forecast I made last year. And I still think you'll see it because of the supply and demand impacts of it. But, you know, we could very well see this thing drift down. If you look at that price chart on cryptos, you know, it does not look good. Here's Dogecoin, which I'll put in the shitcoin category, but here is the granddaddy. Here is Bitcoin. You know, it's still doing phenomenal. If you look at year-over-year growth, it's looking awesome. You look here, Ethereum, well, it's looking pretty weak right now, but not great. Polkadot, not looking great at all. Actually, Polkadot's got me a little concerned because I have a pretty good position in it. Litecoin, you know, looks pretty much the same as all the others. Cardano, I actually am pretty bullish on Cardano. After watching the interview with Charles Hoskinson, if you wanted some interesting viewing material that might be way over your head and just geek you out, go to YouTube and type in Lex Friedman. He does a podcast out there, which is, I didn't like him at the beginning, but then I watched a few that were on subjects I was interested in, and I really like the guy. But he's got 2 that are worth watching. One is with Charles Hoskinson, who's the guy used to work for Ethereum, and now he runs Cardano, and he also did one with Vitalik Buterin, who is the guy who started Ethereum. They're both really good. The Charles Hoskinson, man, this guy's just brilliant. It's like, man, I feel stupid watching this interview because I'm writing things down going, what did he say? What was he referencing? I mean, philosophers and theory and all these crazy languages, and that was really good. Anyway, let's see, what's going on Senate? What did you say, Chris? Where did it go? That's going sentiment 100K. Yes. Actually, no, everybody has different opinions. Like, honestly, Chris, you look at Bitcoin, there's a lot of people think it's going to 0. I ran through the kind of math in my head and looked at supply increases versus demand increases. And the more that we get this on TV, the more that people are talking about it, the more that countries like El Salvador say we're going to use this as legal tender, that just increases demand more. The more that demand increases, great, price goes up. But what's interesting is we have a fixed supply at 21 million, but it's slowly, I mean, we're not there yet. We're at 18 million right now, which means we got about 2.5 million left to mine. But that's over the next 100 and, what year is it? 119 years from now, the final Bitcoin will be mined. That's a long ways away, but it's getting slower and slower emission curve. So demand is surging and supply is not. Price is going to go up. Supply and demand. The way you think of it, Chris, is think of it like a 68 Camaro, right? They're not making any more 68s, but the more TV shows and celebrities are like, man, 68 Camaro is the best vehicle ever made. You got to get one. Boy, those things really start to surge. I mean, that's the basis of classic cars, is it not? Cool, Gretchen. Glad you enjoyed that one. Yeah, Shinobi, Charles Hodgkin, he does some very interesting YouTube streams. I like that guy. He's cool. There's a lot of people that think he's a scam. I don't think he's a scam at all. Just listening to him, like, man, this guy really seems to be, he knows his stuff, and I can see his vision, and I hope it comes to fruition. Let's see, Bitcoin on a 50% retracement. Yeah, I watched that at the shop. Cool. What else we got? Has Paraguay passed? No, not to my knowledge, not yet. I know that they were working on it. Peeps that don't own BTC see 0. Exactly. Those of us who own it see. Yeah. Between theirs, yes, exactly right. All right, and one last one here. What time was it? Oh my goodness, I'm going late already. This was from David. David says, do you use margin on your cryptocurrency? In the U.S., it's a lot harder to get margin for cryptocurrency. I know Shinobi, he's probably, you've got access to it. And a lot of these exchanges will give way too much leverage. If you look at the equity markets in the U.S., I gotta take a drink of water. I'm talking for an hour straight. It takes it out of me. If you look at the equity markets in the U.S., you get 2-to-1 overnight, 4-to-1 intraday. So if you come in with $100,000, you could trade $400,000 during the day, but only take home $200,000. That's 2 and 4. If you look at, like right now, I can go to Kraken and I get up to 5 to 1. So if I've got, let's say, $10,000, I could buy $50,000 worth of crypto. Some of you, I know BitMEX does like up to 100 to 1, which is crazy. I mean, that's pretty much what spot Forex is around the world. US is 50 to 1 for spot Forex. Some countries will do like 500 to 1. But if you think about how quickly cryptocurrencies can move and you're leveraged 100 to 1, Bitcoin could drop $10 and all of a sudden you blew your account. I mean, it happens like that. So I don't use any margin in my crypto accounts. I do use margin in my futures account. I do use margin in my equity accounts. I do use in my options account, in my Forex account, but I do not use any margin in my cryptocurrency accounts. I feel it's volatile enough. And if you get one of the swings like you've had over the past month and a half and you're on the wrong side of that thing, dangerous. The only reason that I would have leverage on a crypto account is to go short and be shorting some of these moves. Because right now, I mean, if you go forget my love for cryptos or my belief in what cryptos can be, if you look at some of these price charts, I'll bring them up again. I mean, do these not look like great shorting opportunities? If you look at these downtrends, the trend is your friend to the bend at the end. I hate to say it, but I mean, right now it looks like you're going to keep drifting down until something changes. And if you don't have margin, you cannot short these. I don't know the hex one. I don't know the hex one. I'm gonna have to go look up more of these in my crypto sessions. Where is the? There we go. Let me go up to the main one here. I don't know if I get it on the other platform. Hex, huh? All right, let's go here so I get on this one. Hex USD. Go to crypto. There we go. Oh, so basically, yeah. So this is a token. So you don't really get much with tokens. I mean, unfortunately, tokens are just a derivative from the Ethereum blockchain, right? It's an ERC20 token. I'm assuming this is an Ethereum one because it's got an OX in front of it. But it's either going to be a Binance blockchain or an Ethereum-dependent cryptocurrency or token. Obviously, whatever's going on right now with Hex, huge demand moving to the upside, but this is a gamble to me. This is a flyer. And I generally don't, that's where I just pulled it up. You can see it's on Uniswap. I don't do a lot on the Uniswap front. A little bit here and there when I want to experiment with some really oddball token, but I generally don't. But, I mean, it looks awesome. I'm glad that you're in it. I hope you're doing well. You're up 100% in 3 days. Anything like that. If this was a stock and it was up 100% in 3 days, I'd tell you to walk away from it. But it's crypto. It's a different world. You got to have a different risk tolerance. And I think that might be my last crypto question. All right, I have to get out of here. I didn't realize we went that long. I know, and just for less, I'm not gonna do a 2-hour show. Yeah, Raj. Well, it's not just a sacrifice. It was just there's some things that you go out of your way to get. Right? There's some of these coins that you're gonna have to go to Uniswap or Pancake Swap and do these exchanges to get those tokens because you're not gonna be able to get them on an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or BlockFi, things like that. Watch the Crypto Banter video from yesterday. Richard Hart was on it. Crypto Banter, is that a specific show, Shinobi? Rich, I'll check that one out. All right, let me just go over what's happening tomorrow. Actually, what happened today. If you look at the announcements, nobody's missed earnings. Everybody is beating earnings, and they're doing it handily. Banks across the board blowing out earnings. And today we had you saw Progressive, you had Morgan Stanley beat earnings, and they're up handily. I mean, some nice moves up with regards to earnings beats. Price-wise, though, notice the difference here. Progressive was a huge beat on earnings, and they're down 2.5%. Morgan Stanley, great beat on earnings, just barely up on the day. So it's starting to show a little weakness, which I'm okay with that. We'll have to wait and see going forward how this all pans out. But today is the big financial week. Next week, we actually get some big names in the tech space. Our first popcorn trade of the week will be happening on Tuesday with Netflix. Here is what's happening for tomorrow. It cools down a lot, but normally Fridays are dead anyway. So here you got Ericsson, Charles Schwab, State Street, and Kansas City Southern. That's all going to be before the market opens tomorrow. And then on the economic front, you guys saw the PPI number that came out yesterday, really bad. We kind of expected that, right? Given what happened with the consumer price index, it was no shocker to see CPI number higher than expectations. Tomorrow will also be very interesting. If you look down here at 5:30 in the morning, you have retail sales and core retail sales. That's big. If we don't get the spending that we think we're getting, then all of a sudden it's starting to maybe put a little damper on this big run we're having if we don't get the sales to keep pushing it up. The Fed can keep printing, but if we don't spend that money they're giving us, not going to work. So that's coming out tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning Pacific time, so 1 hour before markets open. That should be factored in. They're expecting it to get a lot better. Still a contraction, but not the 1.3% contraction we saw last month. They're expecting 0.4% contraction. Tell you what, if we come out any worse than negative 1.3, say goodbye to these markets. You're going to see a nice little sell-off on that Friday afternoon. All right, that is going to do it for me. Tomorrow is Friday. It's Whiskey Friday. Oh, I'm excited for that one. I've been waiting for that nice frosty glass of whiskey all week. But no guests on tomorrow's show. So for those of you who sent in questions, that would be, let me get some shout outs to those. That would be for David, Heather, Isaac, Chris, and Lee. Thank you guys for sending in those questions. And for those that asked questions today, I know I didn't get to everybody's questions, but you know what? Email those to me and I'll make sure I get them scripted and ready. Not scripted, but all set up and ready for the show. You can email me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get questions to me, as Chris found out by sending me his crypto stuff. It doesn't have to be crypto. Whatever questions you guys have. Want to know, talk Forex tomorrow? Want to talk about CPI numbers? Very interesting. I actually have a really cool grid I'm going to show you tomorrow on the breakdown of consumer price index so you can see exactly where the spending was surging, the inflation was surging and where it wasn't. It was really kind of an interesting one for me. Anyway, that will be for part of tomorrow's show. But send me questions, comments, feedback. Of course, if you post down the YouTube video, I'm happy to answer all that as well. That's going to do it for me, everybody. I will see you mañana. Take care.